designed for residential use. And it runs, but it's not designed to run 24/7. It runs 24/7, 365. And I'm told by the HVAC person that it just needs to rest. That's what he said, so it can dry out. What's happened several times is that mold builds up in his fan, and it's unable to push the air, and it starts condensating, and we had water dripping onto several of our older servers who are now decommissioned. But I think that includes in phase two, it includes another AC system for redundancy, which gives one a chance to get a rest.
It does, Gene, and I apologize for not bringing that up.
And that is, from our standpoint, really the space issue too, but that one is really critical. We've dodged a couple bullets with water, but it was a donated system. It works quite well, but it's aging. It's near the end.
Thank you.
The last Public Works or Public Buildings request deals with a request $12,000 to do some work to the exterior of the Flint Library. It includes replacement of rotted wood and painting. You'll remember the project was approved for funding, I think it was 2 years ago, and there was significant work that was done on the exterior of the building. I'm informed that the building does require some additional improvements, and Dick, I don't know if you can speak to the particular detail of what would be included here?
The side facing the Damon Tavern always is out of the sun, so we've accelerated deterioration. As you know, that's a Building Historic District Commission. We're limited to what we can do, what kind of material, so it's wood and paint. And in New England, as you know, every 3 to 5 years, you have to scrape and paint. On the side, it never gets the sun, it's even more accelerated. That's the first piece. Second piece is in the front, there's wood, the original wood railings go up there are frequently vandalized, so we have to repair them. We'd like to put in something of a non-wood in nature or metal nature, but the Historic District typically doesn't want us to do that.
Can't use cellular PVC?
Not Historic District.
You know it's the same.
Oh, he just went look a few weeks ago.
Yeah, they,
He just asked me a question.
we proposed that in
Sorry, I
some
didn't mean
buildings, and they want to stick with the original material. So we would like to do that,
Really?
even a wrought iron something. Probably
I can
more-
see if they want to maintain the wood look, but you can use cellular PVC and paint it the color you want. It's still not gonna, you're not gonna, everybody's looking at me like I got a bad on.
We have a slate roof on the back shelf of the
Reach into the
school.
water.
Hey, you're on there. You're the liaison.
Right.
Make it happen.
Just a question.
If there are no further questions on this, I do have the enterprise fund items, but I do know that Mr. Hardacre has been very patient, sitting here and waiting his turn for the school. So I would ask Mr. Hardacre if he would like to come up and address the board on the middle school project.
Thank you all.
Evening, Wayne.
Thank you. My presentation will be short and sweet.
Yes, thank you. Approved.
So moved, yes. The little school retaining wall has got a problem. A big problem. Back in June, Marty pointed out to me that the wall was leaning. The wall was built probably back, I'm not exactly sure when it was built, but I get a pretty good idea. Like between 1999 and 2000, 1997 to 2000, somewhere around there. The contractor that rebuilt the little school at that time went out of business. The building was put into the bond was picked up, and it was a company called, I can't remember the name. When I first came on board, they were doing punch list work in 1999 when I came on board. I've been looking through my drawings and trying to find something that would spell out how that wall was built. I have nothing definitive. There's nothing that the building inspector signed off on or something. At any rate, it's a situation we need to deal with. when I noticed it, I went over there with Marty, we've had a lot of people look at it. Greg says, what can we do to make sure it's safe? We roped it all off, we did some test borings with the DPW. I had a structural engineer look at it, I had a landscape architect look at it. We did a test with the DPW backhoe, couple of scoops, stop, might fall down. So it's off limits. And what we're trying to do now is determine the best course of action to correct it. And it looks like we're going to have to take it all apart. And it looks like it's going to be quite costly. There's really no way to do it on the inexpensive, on the cheap. And we're looking at it as a town project, not just a school, Parks and Rec, but it's a town project because of the usage of those fields. That's pretty much where we are. John Pasquale from Viking Tree volunteered to look at it. He did. He came up with a nice set of specifications. But it's not something we are ready to get, something that can be stamped by a landscape architect. It has to be stamped per the building department.
Because of
Ballpark
the
price?
height, Wayne?
Sorry?
Because of the height? Why are they looking for stamped set of plans?
It's over 4 feet.
Yes.
Because of the height. Because of the height. What's there now is it's a landscape stone. And I use them on my own house. Mine's only up like this high. There's some over there that are up maybe 8 feet. Could they fall down? Yes, they could. So, but right now, it's not going to fall down, and it's all been coned off, roped off, so, but we need to take some action soon to correct this problem. And it is a problem.
Mr. Prisco.
Can you explain to me, I'm just trying to understand, because this is kind of new to me. So let's say that wall was on the opposite side of the building, not near the playing fields, and it was just a wall on the school property. Would we still be addressing it as a town issue?
I'll take that. I think the reason why he's looking at it as more than just a school project, a town project, is because of the usage of that field. Well, a couple of factors, is my understanding. One, my understanding is that wall was constructed by parents of softball players volunteering their time back in 1997, 98, 99, that constructed it. And
That wasn't the situation. It was part of the project.
Marty, you have to
Part
come
of the
up
It
with
was part of the project in 1996.
well, then that's different. That's different than what I had been told up to this point in time.
No, it was part of the addition. I had talked to,
Marty, you got to come up to the podium, I'm sorry.
I spoke with Brian Wood, who was the director then. I spoke with Mike Gintasio, who was the president of youth softball then, and their only role in that was to move the concession stand, which had to be done, and reconfigure the fields. The wall was part of the,
Middle school project?
in '96.
All right, because that's new, because that's not what I had previously been informed of. But it was that factor coupled with,
Yeah, but I know, but that's why I'm trying to get
Usage
educated.
of-
Let's just take all that out of the equation. Let's just pretend it's on the other side of the school. It's
If
on-
it's a wall on school property, just a retaining wall on school
Yeah.
property,
I think it's a school, that's a
Right.
school project.
it's a school project.
Okay.
But
So the
we
only
still-
reason why we're here, we're
No,
discussing.
no.
No, no,
If
no.
it was a
No.
school project,
It's
a capital
capital.
project, it would still be here
Okay,
for discussion.
all right,
Yeah.
that's what I'm
Yeah.
asking. Thank you. Because the way you addressed it was you came here because you think it's a town project.
No, that's
because-
not what he.
Okay, I misunderstood.
No, I think
It's
I'm
a-
here, we were
it's-
here because it's a safety
It's
issue.
a safety issue.
Oh, I know, I'm just trying to educate. I agree with you. I support what you're trying to do. I'm just trying to understand. When you came here and the way you addressed it, I wasn't sure if there was another process you used, if it was not near ball fields, if it wasn't something that we share town-wide.
No.
That's all. I'm just trying to get myself educated on it.
We present capital
I
needs
understand,
every year, you
yep.
know, whether it's asbestos, if the roof or boiler, we did the little boiler last year, that was a school project. This is a town safety project, and that's why part of my presentation. I appreciate Marty being here too, you know. This involves, you know, it's a public safety thing. And
Yeah,
when we
I know all
find,
that.
when we, and you mentioned it to me, we get a problem, we need to take care of it right away. I think that's why
Mr.
we're
Hudeke,
here.
I agree with you. That's not why I asked the
All right.
question.
All right.
Because I think prior to hearing that, in my mind, softball was a party to this as well. But having heard, Marty, what
Yeah.
you just told me, if they had no part,
I actually thought
You can
that was the case myself, but
If they
I
had no part-
reached out to the people that were involved. I talked to people that were on the secondary school committee meeting back then, and they assured me it was part of the bond for the addition.
it
in
changes
96.
things in my mind as to who should share in this cost, because up until now, I thought softball had a responsibility to share in the
No,
cost.
they didn't
I
have
don't
that
think
kind
they-
of money. They just said they only had, they only moved the
Yeah.
concession stand that had to be moved from, it was in the middle of behind field 2 over to where it is now.
I think there's still some confusion about responsibility, but,
Well, I think that changes things, Wayne. I
well,
think
maybe
as a
it
result
does, maybe it
of,
does.
as a result of it being part of the school project,
I have found nothing definitive in writing that states that.
well, you haven't found anything that anyone from town had signed off on it, but Marty, you have something that,
I have the, well, it doesn't lay out that was
Okay.
definitively, you know, on the warrant for back then. But
Right.
it says includes the site, you know, renovations, to make the change of, you know, that was part of the bond, the capital expenditure that year, 96.
Even if a youth organization were
Right.
involved, to me, you know, first of all, the town still has a responsibility and oversight of their property, and if they allowed that to happen, this responsibility still rests with us.
That's why I was asking my
Not
question.
necessarily with the youth organization that, you know, came up with the money or the funds or the manpower or the, you know.
well,
sweat
this
equity.
is what we were told in the financial planning team meeting, that there was a slope back there, in that wall was not part of the little school project back when, in that softball approached the town and said, can we do this? We want to have stands, dugouts, benches for teams on that side, and they constructed the wall. Mr. Misery,
That's what I was told.
that's what we were informed of about 3 weeks
Yeah.
ago.
No, I spoke to Mike today as well, and he said, no, that's not what happened. They didn't have the money to do anything like that. First of all they did was move the concession stand and reconfigure the fields. They had to reorient it.
You know, I think there's still some confusion. Maybe we should just let it go, but my predecessor, I spoke to my predecessor, Mr. Stiles, you know, and he said nothing definitive as far as it being a school project. He told me to call Rita Mullen, something about, you know, it's been kind of going around in my mind too, because like I said, I found nothing definitive that says in black and white that school project is going to rebuild those walls, so. But it's still like Mr. O'Leary says, it's a town issue, we need to deal with it as a town. Or school, but, you know, whatever, but we need to deal with it.
Mr. Misery?
I think that the problem that I have is, first of all, it has to be fixed.
Right.
There's no question about that. We've heard different numbers for the cost. And it seems to me that the biggest problem is nailing down how it's going to be, you know, what's going to be a concrete wall, is it going to be stone wall, how is it going to be designed so it doesn't fall over in 10 years, and then what it's going to cost to do that. And I don't think we have that information yet.
No.
Yet, October is coming pretty quick, and it's something that I don't think we want to linger.
No. It's that
So
much of a
how do we
safety
get
issue.
there? I guess that's
Well-
the question in my mind.
I mean, that's why we're having the discussion. At least if we should just agree that we want to put something on the warrant. And then I think these guys could do all the hard work.
I have a
No,
good-
but
I have a- go ahead.
that's what we need to know. What is that next step? What do we need, and how are we going to get that done? So what do you suggest? What do we need?
Superintendent from I has told me that we are looking into getting a landscape architect, that the school department would pay not to exceed $10,000. It's, and that's where we're looking at right now, to get a landscape architect. I've already looked at a few. I've done quite a bit of work, but I'm trying to get the right track here. I had, like I say, John Pasquale